Sarah, one of the questions we often get asked is, what does it take to write a book that is publishable?
Great question. So let's talk about what do you need to know as an author if you want to write a book that can actually get to a publisher at the end of the day. I'm Sarah Bullen and I am a literary agent and a writing coach.
And I'm Kate Emerson, best-selling author, international speaker, and facilitator of retreats around the world.
So the first thing I always tell writers is take a look at what books are popular and selling right now. Because I get so many writers who submit books to me that are not really contemporary or publishable, like a Western. You know, it's very hard to place a Western. Like equally with sci-fi. Sci-fi has a smaller publishing market. So start looking at what genres, and we're talking about genres, what genres are selling? What are those books the bookshops are promoting? What do you know your friends are buying? It's a great way to start thinking about, well, what could I write that I could get the best chance of a deal?
Because often it's about the right book proposal landing on the right publisher's desk at the right time. Those three things kind of cog together, and then your book hits the shelves. So it's a little bit of that taken into consideration before you write your book. What's the next thing?
So the next thing is think of writing a book that you can get commissioned up front. And one of these kind of books, just to cut your teeth as an author or as a writer, is something like a biography. Maybe you know somebody or they're a celebrity and they have a fascinating life. It's a great idea to work out your storytelling structure by writing about somebody else and sending the proposal to a publisher and gauging the level of interest and if they'll commission it.
And one of the things also about that is looking at what's happening in magazines as well and the news, because that will give you an idea as to who might be contemporary that would be a good person to write about. And also always remember things that you're passionate about, those unique, interesting, quirky people or ideas or places, and that could be a great way to get started. What's the next one? So what about the actual writing content, Sarah?
So this is a really interesting thing. The one thing I want to tell you as a writer is that your writing doesn't have to be brilliant. We don't want lyric poetry. We don't want beautifully academic words. What we're looking for as an agent and as all publishers are looking for are a good story. So please don't get hung up about grammar, about spelling, about my English is not fabulous. That is not of interest. When we pick up a book, a manuscript, the first thing I ask myself is there story? So all of those little things we can fix later. So please don't worry about your English.
Because what we always say on our mentorships and retreats is that it's not the best writers who gets published, it's the ones with tenacity and determination and a very clear goal that they're focused on that they're not going to let go of. A little bit like a Jack Russell with a ball on the beach. What's another one, Sarah?
Well, you can answer to that, Kate. Maybe it's about what do publishers actually look for when they're looking at a whole spectrum of books? What would grab a publisher's attention?
Okay, so specifically say for memoir and nonfiction, it's about who is the author. So my first book back in 2013, I absolutely know my publisher picked me up because I already had a platform, a brand, a voice. I was seen to be out there doing things, making a few waves. I'd been on television, I'd been on the radio, magazines, I'd been publishing articles. I was prolific in the public space, but just in a regular person running a professional business. So you've got to look at who are you and what is this concept called an author as a brand, and how are you going to sell yourself to a publisher, or even if you choose to self-publish, at the end of the day you need readers, people who know who you are, what your message is, how or why you're going to change and impact their life. So don't forget that when you're thinking about being published, and always have that in the back of your mind about how do I build my brand.
So the last thing I think that I'm just going to mention is that in order to be published, you have to have written your book. So that is really the clincher. It means bum in the seat, fingers on the keyboard, working and working. And that's what we really know about, because we walk many writers through mentorships to get their books written and walk down the journey of publication. And that may be the hardest part, is that discipline to sit down and build the book word by word, page by page, chapter by chapter, until you end with a draft. 80,000 words, it takes a while to write.
And we call that process bum time. So we hope to welcome you somehow, somewhere in the world, on an online mentorship, perhaps one of our retreats, so that you walk the path of writing your beautiful book.